Hey developers, welcome to My Site Code Diaries, where we explore the world of coding for digital experience excellence. I'm your host Jitendra Ghanekar, and today we are diving into our C Sharp tutorial series focusing on the exciting topic of object oriented programming. On the screen, I have given my social media account. You can follow me on those. What's in this video? First of all, we will see what is object oriented programming, that is OOP. We will see why we used object oriented programming. In that, we will see what is the difference between procedure programming or functional programming versus the object oriented programming. After that, we will see different characteristics of object oriented programming, and at the end we will check what is class and object. Obviously this topic cannot be covered in one video, so upcoming videos in this series will talk more about object oriented programming. So please subscribe to the channel and hit on the notification bell to get the notification about newly uploaded videos. Please click on the like button and do share this video with your developer friends. Your support means a lot to me. So let's start. What is object oriented programming? Object oriented programming is based on objects interacting with each other that contains both data and methods to accomplish a task. So basically object oriented programming is you have a multiple objects which interact with each other in a sequence to perform the corresponding tasks. Okay, so each object will have the data, okay, and the methods to accomplish whatever responsibility which is assigned to that object. So let's take an example of a real world. You have a car and then you put a key into the car to start the engine, but that it doesn't work, like it doesn't directly start it. What it happens is first the ignition object will get called, which will pass the message to the starter, and then starter will pass the message to the engine to start. Okay, so here are the multiple objects which are there. So what is happening basically behind, you are isolated from the logic of how the object of the system work together. So how these objects are working, that you are not aware. You just know the starting point, what the data or information you have provided to that object, and what will be the output. You are not aware what is happening in between within the system. Then you just initiate the sequence of an event. You see this is a sequence of an event. You just start that sequence of an event. You then wait for the response of success or failure. Once you start, then you will just wait for what is whether that the response from the object, that whether it is successful or a failure. So this is basically a object oriented programming. Next we will see why we use object oriented programming. So before understanding why we use object oriented programming, so what is the other way of doing the programming, and that is the procedural or structural programming. Okay, so what is it? We'll not go in detail, but we'll see just overview. Program is divided into the small parts called functions. So basically in the procedural or structural programming, we divide the program into small functions. No access specifiers are used. So there is no access specifier. What does it mean? That whenever you use the function, there is no security or no access specifier. It means that it can access by anyone. Does not have any proper way of hiding data, so it's less secure. So there is no concept of hiding the data. Overloading is not possible. You cannot overload functions. No concept of data hiding and inheritance is used. There is no inheritance and there is no data hiding. So inheritance we will see in detail in futures videos, but inheritance here you can understand that parent-child relation is called as the inheritance. The function is more important than the data. So whatever data which is you use to execute the program from the that data is not so important than the function is more important. The function is nothing but your program is divided into small parts, so those functions are more important than the data. So you are not concerned about securing that data. It is based on Unreal World, used for a designed medium-sized program. So it is generally used for the medium-sized program. Uses the concept of procedure of abstraction. No code reusability. You do not have a reuse code here in the procedure structural programming. The example of structural programming is the C, Pascal, etc. So I know I'm not going in detail of this procedure or structural programming. Maybe in some other video we can have this topic, but for now you remember that there is another way of programming that is called as a procedural or structural programming, where you can divide the program into small functions. There is no access specifier to those functions. The function is more important than the data. So data, there is no way we can hide the data. So data is exposed to the external entity. No concept of data hiding, no concept of inheritance. Okay, it is based on Unreal World, and it is used for a medium-sized program. So example of a procedure and structure of programming is a language like a C and Pascal. Now what is object-oriented programming? Okay, and what are the things which is done in the object-oriented? We have seen object-oriented program where it is important is the objects. Okay, the program is divided into the small parts called objects. Access specifiers like private, public, protected, etc. use. So you can control which data should be shown, which method or which object can be shown, or which method of the object can be shown, which data of the object can be shown to the external world. So that you can specify by using access specifier. Provides data hiding, so it is more secure. Overloading is possible. Concept of data hiding and inheritance is used. So we are using how we can hide a data. So that concept is used. Inheritance, parent and child relationship is used. Here data is more important than the function. It is based on the real world. So just now we have seen the car example. So that is a real world example. So it is based on the real world example. Used for designing a large and complex program. Visit the concept of data abstraction. We will see what is data abstraction, okay, in later. So slowly we will have the complete videos on this concept like inheritance, abstraction, etc. Then you will have a code reusability. Okay, so this is the difference between procedure and object oriented programming. Now you know you have an overview of object oriented programming. Now let us see why we use object oriented programming. Okay, before that, the example of object oriented programming is C#, C++, Python, etc. Okay, so let's see why we use object oriented programming. We'll see what is the advantage of using object oriented programming. The first is the modularity. So object oriented programming allows you to break down complex system into smaller and more manageable modules. So you can create a small and code models, okay, which can be manageable. So you can have the small models created in your program. So modularity is the advantage. Reusability. Reuse of a code is a significant advantage and it saves time, efforts in development. So you can reuse the code significantly. Okay, you can reuse the code significantly, which you can take an advantage as it will reduce the efforts. Scalability. OOPS provides object-oriented programming provides a scalable approach to software development. Okay, encapsulation. Okay, it enhances security and reduce the unintended interference by using the encapsulation. So we will go in detail what is encapsulation. Okay, but encapsulation is basically security. It is related to security and reduce the unintended interference by using the encapsulation. Okay, we will see in detail encapsulation in maybe in future videos. Okay, we will have a series of videos which is related to object oriented programming. So in that we will see in detail what is encapsulation. Similar concept is another concept which we will see in detail, abstraction, later. So abstraction allows developers to focus on essential details while ignoring the unnecessary complexity. Okay, so all the above you see, modularity, reusability, scalability, that will help you in the maintenance and flexibility. Okay, so object oriented programming promotes a clear and organized code structure. This make it easier to maintain, upgrade, debug the code. You can have the modularity, so you can break down those programs in the small modules. You have the reusability code, so you can have a common code available. Okay, and it's the scalable also. So all those will make your code structure very organized, and this will help you to maintain, the update, and debug the code. Code organization, as I said, the object oriented programming encourages the organization of a code into a manageable units, making it easier for teams to collaborate on the larger project. This is also important. So if you see in the structural programming, there is no reusability of the code, no modularity of the code, so you cannot work on in the team, right? So you if you have a team of 4, you can divide some work within them. Okay, because you can break down the complete program into the modules. Okay, someone can write a reusable code which can be used within that modules. Okay, so that way you can collaboratively work with the teams. Polymorphism, we will have a separate complete video on the polymorphism. It allows for the use of a single interface or represent a different type of object, promoting the code reuse and adaptability. One code can be used in a multiple ways, so that is polymorphism. Readability and understandability, a more human readable and understandable code structure. Modeling real world scenario, this we have already discussed, that this object oriented programming is based on the real world entities and real world interaction. Okay, so these are the few of the advantages because of which we will prefer the object oriented programming over other type of programming like structural or functional programming. Now we will see pillars or a characteristic of the object oriented programming. So there are total 7 characteristics which you can see. First is the class. Class is basically a blueprint of object. What is class, that we will see in detail in the next slide, but right now you can understand that is the blueprint of an object. So and what is the object? Structure for incorporating data and the procedures for working with the data. So it is basically a structure, defined structure, which can help you. The structure is by the is nothing but your class. So that structure is defined in the class, and you can use that class, that structure, to create an object which will have the data and the methods, or which you can say the procedures for which will define, those methods will define what to do with that data, so how we can process that data. So that is the object. Abstraction is nothing but show only the necessary thing. There is no need to show everything to the external world or to whoever is using it, that object who is using it. You do not have to show everything to them, so show only the necessary thing. Encapsulation is basically hiding the complexity. Don't show you the complexity, what you are doing in the methods or a procedure. Don't show that to the other object which is trying to use it. Okay, which is trying to use it. So that is the hide the complexity. The hide the complexity is nothing but the encapsulation. Polymorphism, an object can behave differently at different levels, more than one form. So polymorphism is basically you can have a multiple forms of the same object. Okay, multiple multiple behavior of that same object. Okay, so that is called a polymorphism. Inheritance, it is a parent child class relationship. An object consists of composite of other object that is work together. So aggregation is basically object consists of a composite of other object that work together. So one main object which will have a multiple object, so that is called as a aggregation. So these are the characteristic of the object oriented programming: class, objects, abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance, and aggregation. See, we are not going to do all those things in this video only. So we will have the multiple videos for all these. Okay, because we have to go in detail of abstraction, how we can do the abstraction. Same goes with encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance, and aggregation. Okay, in today's video we will target to see class and objects. Okay, the overview of a class and objects. The details we will do it in the next video of our next video about the class and object. And similarly we will have the separate videos for abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance, and aggregation. So let's see what is class and object. We'll take an example of a car only. Okay, so this is a car. This is the object which is BMW. So what is car? What is class? If your car is your class, then there must be some data members and methods. So if you take an example of a data members, the data members can be color, model, brand, and speed, and methods can be start, brake, accelerator. So basically what is class? Now we are car. Okay, so what is class? The class is a user defined blueprint or a prototype from which objects are created. It is basically a blueprint or a structure, okay, of your object. Now here what is your object? Is a BMW is your object. Then what it defines? Okay, what are the things which is defined? What is the structure of it? That is called as a class. That's a blueprint of a class. And that blueprint, what does it contain? It contains a data members and methods. Now what is data members? Before that, let's see what is object. Object is basically instance created from a class. Now you have defined your class, okay, which is your blueprint. Okay, from that blueprint, that structure, you create a instance that is called as an object. So here a BMW is your object. And now what is the data members? Properties or a field of a class. So you might, here is a car is your object. Okay, so it might have some properties, okay, which we will call as a data member. Now car, what will have its properties? Like what is its color, brand, what is its model, speed of it. So that is called as your data member. So it is a property or a field of a class. And then what is a method? It is basically task. Okay, what task a class can perform, those are methods. Now what car object can perform? It may get start. Okay, you will to start the car, then you have to accelerate the car, you have to brake, apply the brakes. So all those are the methods. Okay, those are the tasks which is performed by the class. So here is the simple example. If you assume your car is a class, then there are data members and methods. For a car class, you have a data members like color, model, brand, and speed. Those are nothing but a properties of those class. Whereas the methods are start method, brake method, accelerator. Those are nothing but the tasks which can be performed by that car. Okay, let's see in detail now. So when you create a class, so here I have created a public class car. Okay, and then I have created few properties. Okay, so if you see the class how it is defined, you have a modifier. We have talked about access modifier. So here you see a public, that is your modifier. Then you have a keyword called class, and then the identifiers. Okay, so car is your identifier. Okay, then color, model, data, brand, and speed, which is in C# language, you can say those are the properties which you have created, or you can create a fields also. Okay, what is field and what is property, that we will see later. But remember, these are the properties. This is basically property which I have created here. Those are called a data members, which defines the car's properties. Okay, what color it is, what model it is, what brand it is, what speed it has. So that is defined by the data members. Okay, then we have a constructor of the class. Okay, where your external, or when you create an object, okay, the constructor will get automatically called, and you can pass the object values to it. Okay, we'll see what is that. A constructor also we will see in detail later. Then you have these three methods we see here. First is the start method. okay, where you can write a logic of starting the engine. Then you have a brake method where you can write the logic of applying the brake, and then you have an accelerator where you can write a method called accelerator, where you can write up a code to apply the accelerator. So this is the simple example of a real life model to the programming model. Okay, so here the car is your class, the data, color, model, brand, speed are your data member. You have a start, a brake, and accelerator methods. Now how you will use this class? This is just a structure of your object. Okay, now how will you use it? So here if you see an example where we are creating the object. Now I created an object of Ertiga. Okay, now what it is, you will pass white, so color, white color, model VXI, brand is Maruti, and the speed is 150. Okay, similarly you have punch, the color is gray, model is VXI, the brand is Tata, and the speed is 200. So basically here you have created the object. Now this will have, so if you say Ertiga, it's an object of the car. Okay, car is your class. So Ertiga has its properties: white, its color is white, its model is VXI, so its brand is Maruti, and speed is 150. So that is how it is defined. Now if you want to start the Ertiga log, you can write it Ertiga.start will start the Ertiga, not the punch. Okay, so Ertiga.start will start the Ertiga, punch.start will start the punch. Okay, so this is how you can transform your real life example to the programming model. Okay, real life model to the programming model. Okay, this is called as object oriented programming, because your objects are important. Here your objects are important. Okay, so this is how the class works. Okay, but now there is a question which generally people ask, that what is the difference between class and object? Okay, so we will end this video with this difference only. So what is class? Class is basically a blueprint or a template for creating object. Okay, the class is a blueprint or a template for creating object, whereas object is the instance or a realization of a class. Okay, remember this, class is basically structure, object is your actually data. Okay, actual instance. Then you have a describe the class describes the properties and behavior of object. Okay, so class, as you see here, as you seen here, the car has described how the object should be, what should be its color, what should be its model, what should be its brand. That is defined, described by the class with properties and the behavior. Whereas object represent a specific entity or an instance. So it basically is defined, like if I say Ertiga is an object, it defines cars. Okay, we can the class can have both static and non-static members. We will see in detail when we will go for a access modifier, what is static and what is non-static. Okay, but you remember, class can be static and non-static. Object only access the non-static member of a class. Okay, then class can be inherited by other classes. You can have an inheritance in class, but object you cannot inherit by other objects. So you have Ertiga and punch, you can't inherit Ertiga into the punch. But if you have any other object like accessories, so that accessories class can be inherited into the car. Can have a relationship with the other classes through the inheritance and composition. We will see the inheritance and composition in future videos. Can have a relationship with other objects through the reference and association. Now again, reference and association we will see in the videos, the next videos, upcoming videos. Exist throughout the execution of the program, whereas the object is created, used, and destroyed during the program execution. How it will be done, again we will have to do a separate video for that, as I'm again and again saying that we will be having a separate video. So it is a series of videos which will come now with object oriented programming. So I will request you to subscribe to the channel. Okay, so and hit on the notification bell, so whenever I will upload these videos, you will get the notification. Okay, so please click on the red button, the subscribe button, and subscribe to the channel. So what we are going to see in the next videos, the upcoming video we will see after this is more about the classes. So we'll see access modifier, constructor, properties, etc. Then we will see class versus struct. We'll see what is the interface and what is the difference between class and interface. So please subscribe and please click on the notification bell. Then only you will get a notification that a new video is uploaded. And now we will get a series of videos on this topic only. So now the videos are interconnected to each other. Thank you. We are done for today. So if you like the video, if you like the content, please click on a like button and do share this video with your fellow developers who is want to understand what is C#. So you can share the complete playlist with them. Okay, your support is means a lot to me, so please do support me by sharing the video, and also provide your feedback through the comment. If you want to include anything, if I miss anything, you can give that info in the comment so that I can include. If I miss anything, I can include that in the next video. So please provide your feedback via the comment. Thank you. Thanks for watching.